Hey, Podnutzians, welcome to Android App Addicts episode 530. This episode is brought to you by Mike Tehan. Thank you for being a Patreon, Mike, for a very long time. I'm going through finally one at a time. Each episode is going to be dedicated to another Patreon, starting with the very first Patreon. Mike started back on August 31st, 2015. My goodness, we've been at this for a long time. So I definitely want to say thank you, and I'm going to take the opportunity now at the beginning of every episode and thank each Patreon one at a time, starting at the very beginning. Again, Mike, thank you for your support. We are definitely short on people this week. Eric is still recuperating from health stuff. I have two other friends of mine who've been longtime Podnutzians who are also going through health stuff. This has not been a good couple months for friends of mine is what it seems like, but I hope they all get better. I hope they all get better really soon. Mark is just flat out sick. Mark took off work. Mark never takes off work. So let me just remind everyone, when Mark is off of this show and Mark is off of work, it's because he's almost ready to go to the hospital type of sickness. So I definitely hope he's feeling better. Hope things get better for everybody partaking with the Podnutz network and everyone helping us and supporting us. We have to immediately talk about the obvious elephant in the room, which everyone will not shut up about. But wait, there's so many. Let's start with the Samsung folding phone. Everyone went crazy poo-pooing it, saying it was garbage, saying it was stupid, saying it was this, saying it was that. And now, since we actually saw it in real life, they seem to be a lot less poo-pooing it, and they seem to be a lot more on board with it. My viewpoint hasn't changed whatsoever. It's a truly Apple-like device in its pricing. $700 for the low end, $1,900 for the high end model. I want everybody else to go out and buy it. I'm not a fan of Samsung. I'm not a fan of their tactics. People are picking on Huawei. Countries are picking on Huawei. Trust me when I say every company basically does the same kinds of things. Not all of them get caught. Huawei got caught. Samsung has definitely done things very unhonorable, is what I'll say, in the past. They're offering this device basically just trying to appease to the elitist and the 1% of the 1%ers, and people will buy it. And I expect it to be a fine device. I don't expect it to be groundbreaking or astonishing or anything like that. I do expect other manufacturers are going to try to copy what they're doing, but of course charge remarkably less money. I still don't feel folding phones will really have any large measure of success for probably 18 months or so. And the reason I'm saying 18 months is because it takes between 16, 17, 18 months on the low end, upwards of 24 months to have a phone go from the original brainstorming sessions and the whole development phase and the whole renders and the concepts and everything to being an actual product being sold on consumers' shelves. So now that other vendors are seeing how people are reacting to the Samsung foldable phone, I do expect other people to come along and try to do something a little bit different, something a little bit better. 6 cameras on the phone, to me, just is Samsung admitting they don't know how to do cameras. I mean, I listen to Mobile World podcast with Mariana Gerard. Really, really unbelievably smart podcaster, journalist, blah, 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 when it comes to phones and when it comes to cameras. And I've never heard her once tout about how good a Samsung camera has been. I've heard her talk about OnePlus. I've heard her talk about Lumia. I've heard her talk about a whole bunch of other manufacturers, the Mate 20. I've never heard her once really tout about how good a Samsung camera is. I'm sure there's a couple of them out there that are fine, that work fine, but I don't expect this one to be at all spectacular. It's not for the camera. People don't go for the camera for that device. I will not come close to ever spending $1,800 on a phone. I'm pretty sure the last car I bought myself as a single person about 13 years ago now was around the same price. I'm not spending that much on a phone. I'm also not spending $2,000 on a laptop. I'm also not spending, $2,000 on a television set. So I'm not going to spend that much on a phone. I hope they have lots of success. I hope they sell lots of items. But I don't think it's going to be a splash success. They already have all the journalists talking about it to the nth degree. So in that manner, it kind of already is a success, is what I'll say. One of the other Google related things that I thought was really interesting is it's a question of, is it going to turn out that I am kind of right, partially right, a little bit right? But first, TechCon Unplugged, September 20th through 22nd, Grand Rapids, Michigan. If you go to techconunplugged.com, you can get all the information, all the links. It is a conference, an event, a festival put on by Jeff Hallish and Paco LeBron. Jeff Hallish from the Computer Repair Podcast, and Paco LeBron from the Computer Business Marketing Podcast, and from Tech Life or Podnutz Daily, along with John Dubinsky from the Maven Group, and Mike from Mike Tech Show, and Marvin B are helping. There's a bunch of people putting in work and effort into this event. This event is a 3-day event focused at computer business support and educating others on how to do computer support, whether it's break fix support, whether it's domain level support, all kinds of computer infrastructure. This is the place where you go if you want to make friends in the network, have friends to ask for help, assistance, guidance, and insight. $199 gets you access to every session and every event for all 3 days. It also gets you all your meals paid for. And it also has on the second night a evening out at Dave and Buster's included into the price. I already bought my registration. I'm going to be there. If you can go, I can promise you one thing: it will be a lot of fun with a lot of really good, nice people. Again, I want to thank Jeff and Paco for all their hard work. They are doing this, I would say single-handedly, but there's two of them involved. Now to the Google thing. We're going to find out if I was completely full of crap and completely wrong, or there was some amount of facts I was talking about when I was predicting this Google game device kind of thing. Part of me believes Google is going to come out with a set-top box that has the ability to do some type of live streaming, live gaming on the device. It could be like a hybrid approach where you can start a game in the background. It will download the executable as it plays a streaming session to it. When you have enough downloaded, it will seamlessly hand it off to your local box. Thus, the resolution might all of a sudden seem a little bit better. The latency might seem just a little bit better because there's more processing being done locally and less on the cloud. Well, they're announcing something. We already saw about a couple months ago, they did the Assassin's Creed on Chromebooks, and it was Project Steam. Well, at the Game Developer Conference next month, which is in March, Google already has like a keynote planned. Nobody knows, in air quotes, what they're going to talk about, but this is a developer-focused event around gaming. Everyone believes this is where they're going to announce something with their Project Stream or something to that effect. I'm still predicting that yes, you'll be able to run at least some games in like a Chrome browser kind of thing, but I really do think that they are going to have some kind of set-top box, some kind of big screen experience in order to really truly compete. I will say the Nintendo Switch is proving that you can make a ton of money in a hybrid system that is portable, that is mobile, but also is on a big screen television. I don't know if Google can cross that line as seamlessly as the Switch was able to do, but I know Google has enough money. They can convince a lot of developers to do a lot of work on their behalf, on their system, to try to make whatever they come out with as successful as possible, is the way I will put it. Since it is only me here this evening, I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on the IRC chat on the Podnutz website when you go look at live, and I'll try to watch the YouTube stream as well. It's going to be also a little bit difficult for me to bookmark all the links that are being done in this show. So every now and then when you're watching live, I'm going to take a short break just to do some reorganization. But you listening, the audio listeners listening after the fact, you should have a seamless experience where everything should just seem to work. Okay, timing is everything. Any manufacturer announcing anything 2 weeks before today or 2 weeks after today is going to have a really, really difficult time making any traction with anything. So it doesn't shock me if nobody out there listening to this show even caught wind of this latest thing. Energizer. You know, the bunny rabbit, dum, 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 keeps going and going and going. Energizer is putting their name on phones. It's unclear, I think, how many phones it's going to be. I think it's going to be at least 3 phones, maybe upwards of 6 phones. And I know what everyone's thinking. There's no way any of these phones are going to be any damn good. And I'm not going to say you're wrong. This is what I will say, okay? They're not making everything themselves, okay? We have enough companies out there, whether it be Oppo, whether it be OnePlus, whether it be Vivo, whether it be Xiaomi, whether it be Honor, whether it be Huawei, and it just ZTE, and just on and on and on and on and on. All these other manufacturers, okay? With that said, let's first say this. LG, HTC, and there's another one, I can't remember who it is. I've heard a couple podcasts say, including, I believe it was Android Authority, say this is the year where HTC and LG are basically going to die because they're not innovating. They're not doing anything new. None of them are really pushing the fray forward. None of them are getting new patents or new copyrights on stuff. So they're just going to basically fade away, which is going to leave room for other people to come up. I'm not saying Energizer is that company, but, I like saying but, can you tell? But Energizer is coming out with the phone, branded Energizer, with a 18,000 milliamp battery. 18,000 milliamp battery. 18,000. You got to understand, most phones only have between 2,000 to 4,000 milliamp. The biggest phones out there, I think, has like 4,200 milliamps or 3,800 milliamps. This is literally going to have 5 times the battery of most phones. 5 times the battery of most phones. 18,000 milliamp. I don't care how thick the phone is. You have really, in my opinion, incompetent OEMs touting of the thinness of their devices. And to me, the only people I know that really care about the thinness of devices are like Kardashians, Hollywood types, people that don't even understand how the phone works. It's a magic thing in their hand that they really have no actual interest or desire to even understand how any of it works. Me, I love technology. Now, when I was a kid, I would open a radio to figure out how it worked, but I couldn't put it back together. But I at least figured out something by breaking it apart. This kind of thing, I don't care how big it is. I don't care how thick it is. I don't care how ugly it is. As long as it basically fits in my pocket is all I care about. The selfie cam basically doesn't exist. It's a pop-up. That's something else. I want more screen on my front. I don't care about selfie cams. So to be honest, that's almost a plus to me because I'm never going to pop the damn thing out. So it's going to be fine. Um, I don't care if the screen doesn't have 4K. I can't see in 4K. 18,000 milliamp battery. It's expected going to be sometime in 2019. Nobody seems to know exactly when this is going to come out, and I do not recall of a price, but it does say 6 gig of RAM, 128 gigs of storage. That's fine. It also is going to have USB-C port, which you better have a USB-C port because you're going to need fast charging for 18,000 milliamps. The battery says can last up to 50 days on a single charge, aka without turning the screen on, kind of thing. 50 days. I'm willing to pay a fair price for this, is what I'm going to say. I could see paying $500 to $600 for such a phone that I could literally for days don't have to run and scream and go crazy making sure it's plugged in. I don't expect this to be popular either. I expect the Samsung foldable phone to sell 10 times as many as this. I don't care. I would much rather invest money into something that can last for days versus something that opens up, that folds. And I know this is just me. I don't think this is going to be a popular opinion, but I will say I am going to keep my eyes open for this one. Just because, me and a couple people on Voxer have been talking for years about why can't we get a phone with more than 4,000 milliamp? Why can't we get a phone with like 5,000 milliamp? Why can't we get a device that actually can easily last a day? What's wrong with these people? Why do they keep making things thinner? I don't want things thinner. Stop making things thinner. And they keep making things thinner over and over and over again. So I'm happy for someone to at least challenge the status quo, I guess, is the best way I can put it. Challenging the status quo is a good thing. Competition, again, is just going to mean people like us, consumers, will benefit in the end. Maybe not executives, maybe not celebrities, maybe not journalists, but maybe just normal folk will benefit from it. Okay, here was another article, and I had to bring this one just because I had to bring this one. I almost thought this was comical. Fast Company, fastcompany.com, they're a decently popular big website. These ain't no little babies doing a website. They've been around for a while. But I saw this and I literally started laughing. And it was a article literally posted on 2/20/19. Yesterday. And it was, these are the favorite app discoveries of executives at 20 hot startups. So I seen a link like that and I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be really bad. It's going to be really filled with like basically friends talking about friends advertising for them kind of thing. So let me just scroll down. Okay, scroll down, blah, blah, blah. Number one app mentioned, Voxer. The very first app mentioned, Voxer. And it says, I regularly use Voxer walkie-talkie app to communicate with my executive coach between our scheduled calls and meetings. While you can record short voice notes using the iPhone Messages app, I like that I can compartmentalize these recordings specifically for this purpose using the Voxer app. Luke Crozes, CMO at a company called Parachute. Okay. This is where I'm going to purposely pause, and I want somebody to think, hey, they're basically advertising this as a discovered app, a new app. One truth in history is every overnight success is preceded by decades of hard work, okay? I.e., there's no such thing as an overnight success, but they're saying this is like a newfound app. This is 2019, and I want to pause and just give everybody an opportunity. Let's stop for a second and think, how long ago do you think this app was first mentioned on Podnutz.com on the show Android App Addicts? And I had my own guesses, but I'm just sitting there and I want to give everyone a second, see what we all think of. Okay, my sense of time is horrible. And this is just proof because I was on the damn show and it was mentioned. And I was thinking, 2015, but to be nice, let's say 2016, because, I'm probably not right. And then I go look, we're on episode 530. Voxer was first mentioned on episode 72 back in 2012, nearly 7 years ago. That's how long ago Voxer was first mentioned on Android App Addicts. And I can tell you right now, there is no better voice messaging application available, period. There's a lot of other ones that are available. Voxer isn't perfect. Voxer, in fact, is quite flawed. Voxer has bugginess, has glitchiness, has inconsistency in it, however you want to call it. But I can tell you still, as of 2019, every single voice delayed messaging app I've ever tried is 10 times worse than Voxer. If you want to be able to have a no limit on your message, you want to be able to click a button, send a message, a voice message of any length. You can go 20 minutes if you want, and then hit stop, and that person then can listen to it either as you're sending it or listen to it at some later time and then even replay it again at a later time. Voxer is the application to do that, period. Nothing does it better. And you can send images, and you can send text, and you can send GIFs, and you can send URLs, and you can make chat rooms with multiple people in them, or you can keep it single, or you can have single private encrypted chats, period. It's just that damn good. And that's where I just literally threw my hands up on this page and I said, I'm happy other people are mentioning this app, but I'm almost now afraid to go through the other apps. And I will tell you, I did scroll through the other apps on this list, and some of them were iOS only. Some of them had, to me, questionable things that happen, like RoboKiller. It automatically blocks telemarketer calls. Oh, that kind of scares me a little bit what it does. You have Genius Scan, Radio YouTube TV, DJ Pro 2, Himalaya, Voice, Warby Parker, Tryon. It basically, to me, everything just goes completely downhill after they mention Voxer. But I'll say it like this: I'm obviously biased. It's Voxer. Voxer works really good. Has worked really good, will continue to work really good. It's just Voxer. It's just Voxer. That's how it works. I also want to thank new Patreons. Now that I have a second, looks like we might have 3 total new Patreons. Number 1, Corey. Can't remember if we thanked them already. They joined February 1st. Then February the 6th, we had Mark join. I think we did mention that one now because of the name Mark. But then as of February 20th, we have a brand new Patreon, MPE. Thank you very much. And if you listeners out there like the fact that we do not stop the show every 10 to 15 minutes and push a product on you that we really don't believe in, but we're getting paid to push. If you want us to never do that, it's very easy. You go to patreon.com/AndroidAppAddicts and you basically bribe us to not push ads at you that you don't want. So I want to thank MPE, thank Mark, and thank Corey again. I do believe we have at least one email we did have a voicemail too, but it turned out to be nothing more than an ad. Um, Here's an email, really quick email from Advait, which I'm really bad at saying names, but it's Advait, Advait. Okay. Subject: timestamps for different part of the podcast. Hey, guys, possible to add timestamps to different sections of each podcast. That way I can skip ahead and focus on a section I'm most interested in. What do they call the text that comes along with the downloadable podcast show notes? Thanks. Love the show and hope Eric is feeling better soon. We miss him, and I agree, Advent. I miss the man dearly. Such a good guy. He'll be back soon enough. Trust me on that. I'm going to say a soft no. I'm not adding timestamps to the show, but it comes with a disclaimer. Right now, the way I record the show, I can record in keystroke form when things start and when things stop. The problem then becomes when I then cut the beginning and the end off and put it in the template for the show, and then I do a truncate silence. It removes all the silent parts. Thus, I would lose all those timestamps in that time frame. So if I say it's at 20 minutes when we talk about this, it will actually be 18 minutes because 2 minutes of silence was taken out of the show. So the way I do the workflow right now for the show does not really make it at all easy to do such a thing. Number one. Number two, it is the kind of thing that, to be honest, if enough Patreons ask me, I will literally listen to that show the very night when we're done recording it, and I'll write down the timestamps myself, and I'll put them in the show notes, and I'll make it clickable, and I'll make it linkable if enough people say they want it. But even if enough people right now say they want it, I would ask them to be patient, because I do believe coming in May is when at Google I/O they're going to announce their automated podcast voice to text service, where they're going to be able to basically voice dictate, put everything spoken in a podcast into a adjacent text file. So in that case, you will be able to get the Google podcast show notes, and I might be able to copy them as well. And they should be immediately clickable to where you click anything in the show notes where it says that word, and it should immediately jump to that audio in that podcast. So the real logic is, if Google's going to do this, why am I going to put any effort into making this done? That's my excuse, Advent, and that's what I'm going to stick with for right now. I will say, come Google I/O, come May, it's only a couple months away. If they do not do this voice to text thing, or text to voice thing, voice to text thing, yeah, voice to text thing, dictation basically, hit me back, and ask me again. If you're not a Patreon, don't worry. I'll post it to the Patreon people, and if even a couple people say that this would be beneficial to them, I will do it, and it will be available to all listeners of the show. I will say, number one, we really do try to make every listener happy, even though we know it's impossible to make every listener happy. Advent made a very logical request in a very pleasant way, without insulting us, without saying I can't keep up without complaining. He just said, can you keep timestamps? Hopefully Google will take care of this. If Google does take care of this for us, then we'll all be happy, because I don't have to do any extra work, and we'll all reap the benefits, in the beginning at least. If Google does not do this and enough people do want it, I will figure out a way to make this a possibility as soon as possible. But let's first see if Google is willing to do any of the heavy lifting for us, I say. Thank you again for the email. If anyone wants to send us an email, it's aaa@podnutz.com. If you have any feelings on the Samsung foldable phone, don't hesitate to shoot an email. If you have any feelings on the Energizer 18,000 milliamp phone, do not hesitate to send us an email as well. What do you guys want to see in your future phone? What's your dream phone looking like? Because pretty soon, almost what everyone can think of as a dream phone, we're going to have available to us. I will also say a lot of people finally seem to be cooling down about the 5G phone thing. I'll say my belief is we're not going to have. I mean, don't we just remember we went through this with 4G LTE not that long ago? I mean, yeah, we've been doing this show for nearly a decade, it seems like, but we went through this with 4G LTE. We're going to get 5G, and then it's going to take almost a full year before it's in a large amount of places. And then it's going to probably take like a whole nother year again after that for all the phones to really have all their antennas and everything primed just right to squeeze as much bandwidth out of everything as possible. You got to remember, when we were promised 4G LTE, we were promised speeds that we are not even remotely close to getting, okay? Not even close to remotely close. Not even 1/10 of the speeds that we were promised. So to believe that 5G is going to swoop in and fix everything and give everyone the speeds they want is not realistic. I will say, early adopters to 5G, thank you, because you're going to pay a lot more than you should be paying, thus hopefully bringing the price down for everyone in about a year. Because it's going to cost a hell of a lot of money up front, and I don't think we're going to see as much benefits as we expect there to be. I expect it to be fine. I don't expect it to be even close to great. Another app I want to bring, to be honest, it was an app that we brought, I want to say about 30 shows ago, almost 8 months ago, and it was just brought on another podcast like a week ago. I can't remember if it was All About Android, aka the second AAA podcast, or if it was a different one. I cannot remember. But it is a Smartphone Tycoon Rotisserie Games. Fantastic name. Simulation. Only 22 reviews, $3.99 to buy. And that was the thing that I liked about this game. E for everyone, no ads, no in-app purchases. But here's the thing. Here's going to be a true test of how good this game is. How long till they update it to where you can have stuff like foldable phones? It was just updated February 11th, and I did buy it. So I'm going to keep it on my device, even though it says current version 1.00, because I want to see, are they going to get stuff like an 18,000 milliamp phone? Are they going to get a foldable phone? Are they going to incorporate that kind of thing into this? I still think it's a fine app. Hard to say it's worth $4. Definitely worth $1.50 or $2. But I will say again that I did have fun with playing this game. And hey, Swift in the chat. Yeah, 6 and 6.5 phones. My ideal phone literally was about close to 7-inch. I always wanted a gigantic phone, partially because of my vision. I would like to have a bigger phone. And I want to say it was SanDisk. It might not have been SanDisk. Somebody just announced a 2 terabyte micro SD card. So there's little to no doubt by the end of this year, we're going to be able to get a terabyte in phones. I don't want to say pretty easily, but there's going to be a lot of phones by the end of this year with a full terabyte in them, which I think is good for everybody, because then it's going to drive down prices as well. I got to get this link real quick before I forget. Oh, I see now the Brave browser says it's blocking autoplay, which is good. Okay, I will say, Eric could not make it here tonight. Mark could not make it here tonight, and I was able to make it here tonight only for one reason, and that one reason is Stardew Valley is not yet downloadable and playable on Android. Right now, it's in pre-registration mode. Chucklefish Limited role-playing game, E for everyone 10 and up. Stardew Valley, updated February 21st, 2019. Size variable with device. It is eligible for the family plan. Content rating, everyone 10 and up. Fantasy violence, mild blood, use of alcohol. I guess because you battle stuff, slimes in the mines. I guess mild blood. I guess. Um, so when this comes out, I'm not gonna lie, I might miss a week. But let's read this real quick. Con Concerned Ape, smash hit indie farming RPG comes to mobile. Move to the countryside and cultivate a new life in this award-winning, open-ended farming RPG with over 50 hours of gameplay content and new mobile-specific features such as autosave and multiple controls option. I really hope it's gamepad compatible. Oh, giddy, 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 giddy. I hope this is gamepad compatible. Yeah, a whole bunch. It mentions all the awards, all the features that are coming. 1.3 is the standard version, and if it comes out, it's going to have multiplayer functionality. It says not supported in this version, but it also says no in-app purchases. I'm pretty sure the multiplayer function is something that he said that he was wanting to have. It's just a question of when. And Concerned Ape is basically one guy, is what I would say. One single guy. He has hired now a team to help do some of his development process. But he basically controls everything. Dare I say, like Steve Jobs did, where this is just his game. And everything in his game follows his ideals, his beliefs, things he purposely handcrafted to be in this game. I will say, yeah, when this game comes out, Mark and Eric might come here to do a show and I might miss a week. Yeah. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. And yeah, I just watched the video and got a little misty. I think it's that damn good. And then I'm going to bring one I don't want to say fluff application because that's honestly insulting to it, but this was something I thought was actually pretty cool. We've seen in the past a whole bunch of tracker apps for like airplanes. Where is this plane en route? Where is that en route? This I thought was actually pretty cool. Technically, I mean, I live, I want to say less than 300 yards from water that goes into the Chesapeake Bay. Less than 2 miles from my house, there's a genuine dock where you can drop like a 50-foot boat into the marina. There's marinas with hundreds of boats lifted out of the water where they, do maintenance on the boats, take care of the boats. Water all around me, fishes all around me, fishermen all around me, all kinds of stuff. So I thought this was actually pretty cool. I did send it to a couple of friends who live close if they had anybody they wanted to track, and it's called Ship Tracker Live Marine Traffic Boat Radar by Tracking Deluxe under Maps and Navigation. 43 reviews, average reviews 4 out of 5. E for everyone, does contain ads, completely free to download, no in-app purchases. 4.1 average reviews, sorry. 3.4 megs in size, updated February 20th, 2019, 10,000 plus installs. Current version 1.0.2 requires 4.0.3 Android and up. So that's a whole lot of them. Content rating, again, E for everyone. And I will say it's just a very simple app where it helps you track vessels. I don't know how it's able to do it. My guess is it's really only going to be more commercial type tracking. I will say, even when I go to work, I can cross over the Key Bridge. It would be interesting to me if I could load this app, look out over the water, and see that is a U.S. Coast Guard boat, or that is a boat from the Dutch fleet shipping containers of car. I mean, it would be very interesting if I could even do that. I haven't had a chance to try that yet, partially because this is Thursday night. I've only been to work, I want to say, one day this week. One day we were closed because of ice and snow. One day we were closed for President's Day. And one day I had off to take my kids to the doctors for their yearly checkups. So it's been a really light week at work. And I'm really happy Mark wasn't here to hear that because he would get really upset at me. And yeah, Swift, 32 gigs. I believe the storage in my phone right now is only 32 gigs. My last phone was only 16 gigs. Yeah, 32 gigs total on my device. I've never had crazy amount of storage on my device. To be honest, I kind of like not having a terabyte of storage on my phone. It forces me to not just install everything. Um, I will say I kind of don't want the availability to install everything. I kind of want to have to at least do a little bit of maintenance on with my device. I will say for those watching the live show, I did buy a SanDisk My Connect. I want to say it was 18 bucks, 17, 18 bucks on sale. And what it is, it's a USB device that I basically push a button on the side of the device, and it basically becomes like a Wi-Fi access point. You can see the light blinking right there. It becomes a Wi-Fi access point and network streaming storage. This was 32 gigs for less than 20 bucks. I can also configure it so it can connect to my internet. So then I can connect my phone to it, still connect to the internet, and stream content off of it. I like the little bit of a hurdle then it gives me to where I can decide I do want to download stuff, but then maybe I should download it and put it on my thumb drive and not take up all the storage on my device. So I like the fact that it gives me storage available to me. But not directly on my device. And it's like offline storage. So technically speaking, even if I lose my device, even if my device gets compromised somehow by all this fake news about Android malware and Android viruses and the such, I will still have my content available to me on my thumb drive that doubles as a wireless hard drive. So yeah, you always got that going for you, kind of thing. Okay, I want to thank everyone for coming out. I want to thank everyone for their support. I want to thank everyone for the emails. Advent, I'm going to keep calling you that because I'm not good with names, Advent. Do not forget, if Google I/O happens and they do not mention the voice dictation feature, hit me back again, and I will ask the Patreoners if this is something that they would like. And if it is something they would like, I will make the timestamps happen in the notes. No problem about that at all. I want to thank Swift and Red for coming out to the live chat. Eric, Mark, really hope you guys feel better. All the other Podnutzians who were suffering from any kind of illness, I really, really hope things get better. I really, really hope you guys feel better. And I will talk to everyone again real soon.